I'm Greg Stanley. I'm here with Wes Warren. We're with Whitehall. We spend a lot of our time, the vast majority of our time, working with associates and associate issues. Today, we'd like to take that a step farther and talk about the 3 questions you're going to want to ask any prospective associate doctor for your office. Now, we know, as you do, that there are actually more than 3, but these 3 are going to be vital. In fact, the first one is the biggest of all. That is the doctor's goals, the prospective associate's goals. Wes, can you comment on that?
Yeah, so the first, their goals can be clinical goals, it can be financial goals. What you're really trying to find out is what's important to them. What's important to them in their career and in their life. And each doctor is a little different. So you have doctors that it's clinical goals and they want to be the greatest clinician ever and do all this beautiful, magical work and save the world through dentistry. And then you've got people who want ownership, like that's what's important to them. And for me, I want ownership. And other people, it's financial. I want to make a lot. Now that one, a lot of people will be smart enough to kind of cover that up and not expose how ambitious they are in their financial, but you've got to kind of figure out what's important to this person and which direction they're going in their life.
What should we be watching for? What's a red flag for trouble?
So yeah, and each one of these things can have red flags. So, the clinical excellence person can become like a zealot, where they got this great story of dentistry and wanting to do occlusion, huge cases and things, but nobody wants to listen to it. Very few, as you know, if you've been around dentistry, it's hard to get an audience for large cases. There are large case offices, but man, there's very few, and they're usually very good at marketing. So if that's not the kind of practice you have, that person potentially is off the list. The next thing would be the equity question. And this one's vital and very important and has subtleties to it. So first off, do not let the doctor know anything about the practice, anything about the associates you're looking for, nothing. Don't let them know that you're planning on selling or planning on staying, planning on no plans. You don't let them know anything, and you ask them about equity. Is that something that you see in your future in the next 5 years, having some equity? And they're going to say, well, yeah, most people are, yeah, it would be nice, and you say, how important is that to you? That's the question. Okay, how important is that to you? And you should get more of a straightforward answer here. And you're looking for somebody that's a 10 out of 10 scale or 9 out of 10, meaning on a Richter scale, they're ringing the bell, if you will. When it's that high, you don't want this person anywhere near your practice unless you're selling the practice right away. If you have to live with this person for any length of time, you're going to find that these type of people have strong opinions about how practice should be run, all the things you're doing wrong, and how they can't wait for you to get out of there. And they're very difficult to manage and difficult in a way that it's hard to get them to integrate into the practice because they have such strong feelings. So when somebody is super hot on equity, that's not good. It's okay if somebody's mild, that's fine.
How about a clinical mismatch? We're doing something and this person knows nothing about it.
So yeah, clinical mismatches. So you got conservative versus aggressive. And you should know what kind of dentist you are, and you want to have the similar match there between philosophies. If you're conservative, you kind of need to find somebody else that's also conservative. If you're aggressive, you probably need to find somebody that's also fairly aggressive. If you're middle of the road, yeah, you kind of want to stick kind of in the middle. And as far as Yeah, mismatches can be awful in a practice. So um,
We have to remember that owners have spent literally a lifetime in dentistry evolving into the dentists they've become. And it's so seldom we're going to have somebody walk out of school or walk out of another practice from a short-term encounter and be able to match what you can do after 35 years.
yeah, so we have offices, that get into like occlusion cases, and it's what they built. Well, you got to find a doctor that kind of wants to go in that direction, and believes in that. It's got to be a match with philosophy.
All right, let's look at the second question we selected off our list, and that was associate speed. How can we rate this? How long can we tolerate it being subpar? The speed they go.
So this is an overlooked question. That's why I put it on the list. So a lot of doctors just forget that some doctors are so slow that they almost can't make any money. I mean, and we see that obviously as being a problem. So questions on speed would be, what's a good month? You ask them, what was a good month for you? What was like maybe your best month ever, production wise? And they might say, let's say 60,000. And you would say, in that month, how busy were you? Were you 100% utilized that month, or did you have a lot more room to actually? That give you some sense of what they're capable of doing. It also gives you a sense of what they'd probably be happy producing. And that's also another question we want to kind of figure out, which is not on this list, but we definitely ask, what's a good month for you? What's a good month? Not your best month, just a good month. And that'll give you an idea. If you do 30%, you kind of know what they're making or what they'd like to make.
Let me just tell our audience what we consider in this decision. Like Wes said, what's your best month? Let's say it's $70,000. That's not unheard of for an associate doctor. And how busy were you? Well, I had to stay after hours every night. I had to work long hours to do 70,000. We know that in the average owner-driven practice, an owner doctor, fully utilized, or 95%, that's more realistic, probably is going to produce about 110 to 125,000, maybe even more. But that's somebody who's busy and effective. So if you're trying, so much of what we're trying to evaluate isn't just whether this person's effective, but how can we expect them to improve? What's realistic? Thoughts?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. They got to be showing potentials of being able to produce 70, 80,000 a month. Without it, I mean, that's what's got to happen. They've got to have that ability, speed wise, to do that.
And quality. I can't tell you how many doctors brought on associates without doing due diligence, let them do a bunch of dentistry, got rid of them because it was kind of a bad job, and then spend the next 3 years correcting what they messed up, redoing work.
Yeah, so speed's one question, quality is another set of questions.
Yeah.
The other thing we would ask is, how long they like to schedule for procedures, patient's time.
Yeah.
And their time. So obviously crowns, things like that, you can ask, what's normal, and what would you want us scheduling your patients at, that we see here. To get an idea of speed, you can get a pretty good assessment with just those couple little probes.
At the end of the day, the associate doctor has to produce at least 70,000 a month, probably in the 5th or 6th month, maybe 4th month, in order for them to be profitable to the practice and not have it cannibalize your own schedule. So that's what we're looking for. When we talk about speed, can they hold up their end? Because
Right.
we're gonna feed them the patience. Today, that has become more predictable and affordable than ever through online marketing. We get a pretty good class of person with some geofencing and some Google reviews. And but if they are, like you said, slower to, too slow, it ends badly.
And it,
Now, so one thing we're going to probably want to ask too in this question is, are you willing to get faster? You say you schedule 2 hours for a crown. I schedule 45 minutes. Would you commit to being as fast as I am in, say, 6 to 9 months? In other words, that's not unfair to ask. And if they say, oh my gosh, I was 4 hours for a crown. I worked it down to 2 hours. Well, that's a pretty bad answer.
yeah, right.
Okay, let's go on to number 3. And
This
that
is
is
another one I like. Yeah.
to ask the associate, based on their previous practice experience, if they have some, what did they not like about the practice? What irritated them, caused them to stress?
Yeah, this is another important one. What things did you not like about your other practices, whether it be clinical philosophy, talk about the team? You want to lead them here, go clinical, the team, the types of patients you saw, in all areas, the hygienist you work with. What didn't you like about any one of those areas? And you're looking for strong feelings again, where they have a bit of strong, passionate feelings about something that
What's an example of something would be a red flag?
oh, I've had people that were really, I want autonomy with my patients. I want, and going, well, uh, I understand that, but you kind of got to earn the trust, the old trust but verify. We'll let you in here, but we want to make sure our patients are taken care of based on the owner doctor standards. So when we get somebody that is really passionate about something like that, yeah, those are red flags. Could be with wills clinically. So we hear, usually you want to hear clinically, where they're really passionate about one thing versus another philosophy. And if it's a mismatch in your office, it's a mismatch. If you're not super aggressive, mediocre, aggressive, maybe normal, middle of the road, and you're hearing kind of aggressive stuff, yeah, it's a mismatch. And you got to be very careful of that. Also, problems with leaders, owners, team members, where they're irritated by them, irritated by a team member or two. Those are also not great things, especially the owner. If they start having problems with the owner, that likelihood is eventually they'll have problems with you. And so, and then, business, they'll also meander into how the practice is run. It's just not run. It just da 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 da, and have them develop it out. And you're looking for that real sense of almost anger, angst in their responses. And those people I kind of probably stay away from.
Good. Okay, that's 3 of the big questions. Anything else you want to add, Wes?
I think there was a bonus question we wanted to do that you brought up, which is interesting, is when you're interviewing somebody, if they keep on talking about a bit of technology that is important to them that you don't have, like if they keep on talking about a CIRAC machine or,
Mhm.
whatever it is, and it's just not part of what you guys do, and you hear passion in their voice, you know, you could just imagine living with this person and them just grinding on you, you know, month
Yeah.
after month about this machine we need to get, you know.
This is the guy that stood in a line around the block to get the iPhone 10. You know, he just got to have the new stuff. So if you're not going to get the new stuff, it's better to get it settled now.
Right, right.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you have questions, more questions that you want on your list for associates, give us a call. We'd be glad to hear from you.
Yeah, we got a link here. You can just jump on, and Greg and I save some time every day for people that have questions. So just jump on, log in, and make an appointment.
Thanks for listening.
All right, thanks for listening.